with how to fix a creaking bottom bracket. This bike here, my old trusty faithful Cannondale, got this in 2007, still going strong. This bike, oh man, this bike, I had good memories on this bike. Anyway, it had a creaking bottom bracket back in 2010. 10 years ago, I bought this tool. I'm like, oh, I'm going to fix this creaking bottom bracket. Every pedal show was like, tick, tick, crack, crack. And I was like, this bottom bracket, I'm going to pull it out. This is what a bottom bracket is, I'll show you for those who don't know. So, we've got any bottom brackets in here. Here we go, I've got a bottom bracket. So I'm going to pull this little bottom bracket out. And these threads here, these threads have got grit in there. I'm going to grease them up. And there's going to be no more creaking. So what I did is I got my little tool, undid my bottom bracket, took my cranks off, undid this, pull it out, put some grease on the threads, put it back in, went for a ride, click, 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 and I was like, oh, it's still creaking. It's still creaking. And I was like, no way. I'd waited like 2 weeks to get this tool from the UK from Wiggle. And then in 2 weeks, that was my only bike at the time I had in the Gold Coast, I was riding this clicky bottom bracket, and I'm like, you're waiting. I remember pulling out the package. Oh, it's like popping a big zit. This tool is going to save my creaking bottom bracket. All right? And you know what happened? It wasn't even the bottom bracket. It wasn't even the bottom bracket. It was the pedals. The pedals. So what I had to do was take the pedals off, 8mm unkey, dung, 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 put some grease in the threads, put them back in, and then it was all right. All right? Now, sometimes it could even be the pedal spindle. The crank spindle, where you need to put a bit of grease in there. I'm not going to go through every possibility, because someone just emailed me then with a Pragma Morse and said it's creaking, and I'm like, well, I've got the same bike, it's all good. So you're going to look at the threads. Well, we've got some threads here. There's XTR cranks. This thread here, all right, here we go. We use a SRAM XX crank. So you want to put some grease on here, just a bit of grease all around there. All right, so that could be a creaking point. The bottom bracket threads could also be a creaking point. They could also be loose. So tighten it up. You know, at least 8 Newton meters. Tighten it up. That can be a factor. The most common one though I find is the pedal axle interface. All right, so your pedal axle goes through there. So put grease in here all around there on your pedal axle. That's a big one. Even your pedal could be loose. Another option is the quick release can have dirt in there. So take off your quick releases. If you've got through axles, take them out, give them a bit of a clean, a bit of water, dry them out, put a bit of grease on the threads, put them back in. All right, that can cause creaking. A loose quick release, a loose through axle, or something with grit in there can cause creaking. What also can cause creaking is the rear quick release. There's a little pussycat in here. Boiler, what you doing? You know, so you want to take that out, put it in. Another great thing with having many bikes is I can just swap parts around. I can swap parts around. I've got my Mawson over here. This is where the bird was living, by the way. I've let it go. Flew away, very good. So I've had no issues with my bottom bracket at all. It's perfect. Right? But again, your rear quick through axle, tighten it up. Maybe it's loose. Right? Just hand tighten it up, and put a bit of grease in there as well. That can be an issue. If that's loose, it'll creak. Front through axle, if it's loose, it'll creak. Again, just hand tighten it up. Put some bit of grease in there maybe. And then we got, what else can be creaking? The free hub cassette can be creaking as well. It's a little broiler cat. That can creak. Spokes can creak. Rear wheels can creak. There could be grit in here. Could be sand causing a creak, because these loud tubes, these loud carbon tubes are very. They're very, not autistic, or acoustic, that's the word. I'm autistic. These bikes are acoustic. Alright, so that's the deal. That can cause creak. So, grease your pedal axles, grease your spindle, grease your BB. You've done that, tighten everything, make sure everything's tight. And again, it's not about tightening it so you're going to explode your carbon frame. It's tightening it to, it's enough. So it's tight, but it's not like, it's not as tight as you can get. Some people tighten things up. Like I've had pedals, I've worked on bikes where people have tightened the pedal and they're so tight, it's like you had to get a big 6-foot extension pole to try and get rid of it, to get it to loosen it, or use a hammer. So tighten things, 10 Newton meters for your pedals, etc., or 5, or 6, and there you go. Headsets can also cause creaking if you got not enough grease in there. But on the video I saw, it's a very new bike, so I doubt it's going to be a headset. What I would feel is it could be the quick release is loose, the through axle is loose, or the pedal spindle here or the crank interface. Again, when you have many bikes, you can swap cranks over, check it out. Swap a wheel over, check it out. Swap a quick release over, check it out. And you can pinpoint it. It can be very, very frustrating. Be very, very frustrating. But like me in 2010, I bought this tool thinking all creaks came from the bottom bracket, when in actual fact it was the pedal spindles needed a bit of a grease. Hopefully that helps. It's all about looking at things. So this person showed me the bike and they were flexing it like pedal down, just, and it was just creak, creak, creak. So that, for me, it almost felt like it was coming from the back wheel. That was a bit loose. So there's options there. Cranks could even be loose. Chain rings can even be loose as well. That's another one. Check your chain ring bolts. Make sure that they're not loose. Things like that. It's can be a bit frustrating, but when I saw that bike in that video, I was like, oh, I wish that was in my hands. I wish that was in my hands just to be able to diagnose it on the spot. You know, because I could definitely do that. But unfortunately, it's in the USA. And fortunately, we have YouTube videos where we can make responses and help people out. If you have any questions, hit us up down below. Let us know what you found to be creaking on your bike. Even the seat clamps can creak, but in this case, it wasn't that. Thanks for watching.